Hey everyone, I've sorted a bunch of Super TEQ units into tiers and we're going over it. I've included all Dokkan Fast and LRs, but to save a teeny tiny sliver of my sanity, I'm keeping the other units to only things that came out or got some sort of awakening in this cursed year of 2020. While a ton of the units that came out this year are good, I've sorted them into 7 tiers. Tiers 1 to 4 are all still good units, but they are different levels of good. I'll explain each tier as we go, but you'll notice that I put more emphasis on the unit's overall characteristics instead of putting more weight into how well they do at their specific role, so you'll see a couple differences from my top 10 video. However, this will hopefully still be a good reference for you guys just to know how good your Super TEQ units are at the end of 2020. And speaking of my top 10, here are the results from that video. It went up on Wednesday and you can check out my reasonings by clicking the link in the description or in the info card on the top right of your screen. But okay, so tier 1. These are the units that are really good, close to perfect. Not just at what they do, but in general. They don't have any real big weaknesses, or in the case of Caulifla, those weaknesses have no effect on how they're used. These are ideally the cards that are most well-rounded and versatile. Quick aside though, the units in each tier are not in any particular order, so let's run through these real quick. LR Vegito, fantastic leader skill, good damage, can be played multiple ways, and has dodge to mitigate his slightly weaker defenses. LR Jiren, big boy damage numbers and a stun active skill. His weakness is just that he needs to be played with a decent linking partner, and there isn't a large variety of good linking partners for him. LR Gohan and Goten have a great leader skill. People say they have a key issue, but they have a partner unit that can mitigate that, or you can wait 2 turns and they're fine. Doesn't really hurt them that much. Transforming Gohan is a master of all trades and the best Super TEQ unit in my opinion. Transforming Trunks didn't make it on my top 10 list because while he's a great stacker, other units were just better at specific things. He was very close though. Trunks is a very balanced unit overall and doesn't have any major weaknesses, which lands him in tier 1 for this video. Majin Vegeta is also a very well-rounded unit. I mentioned it in my top 10 video, but his weaknesses are minor and he makes it to tier 1 for that. And Tech Khalifa is the big red flag here in tier 1, and that's just because of how broken the guaranteed dodge mechanic is for her. While she is pretty offensively weak without stacks, she is literally the perfect tank in any situation where you can use her dodging passive. And with a lot of the Dragon Ball universe centered around Saiyans, you've got a ton of pure Saiyan and Universe Survival Saga enemies to dodge. She could probably drop down to tier 2, but I really highly value the dodge personally. Support Tien is an incredible support and also a very decent unit in his own merit. He isn't a drag to bring to your team in things like Super Battle Road because of his greatly lowering attack and defense. Okay, tier 2 time. These are units that are still really good but have 1 or 2 big weaknesses that don't necessarily limit their use but are things that keep them from being 10 out of 10 well-rounded units. LR Goku and Frieza do absolutely ridiculous numbers, but they are held back a teeny bit by needing a debuffing support with them to reach that level. Representatives of Universe 7 is still a bit of a limited team, although certainly not as much as it used to be, and they are absolutely still used quite a bit, but the weakness lands them in tier 2. LR Prime Battle Goku is really good after his ZZA. I had to watch other people's videos to get a good sense of it though because I wasn't ready for his ZZA Arena when he came out on JP. Finger guns, prep is important. Shout out to DBZ World. Anyway, the reason he lands here is that his kit is designed for him to support while doing the big damage, but his support has really weird limitations. He only gives key support when facing extreme class enemies and attack support if he gets the Ultra Super off. He gets 3 extra key in the first slot, which is where he would want to be for the Ultra Super support, but it's honestly just a weird setup. You would expect to see this kind of kit made for a more defensive unit. He's still good, but not quite enough for tier 1. LR Goku and Gohan are an amazing floater. They get the sack defense on their Ultra Super, and they get extra key if they're in the 3rd slot. On their normal Super, they seal super attacks, which can be helpful for Super Battle Road, but you really want a good stun chance over sealing, especially in the Extreme Super Battle Road, unless you have a bunch of really tanky units on your team. They are great, but they are tier 2 nonetheless. Super Saiyan 4 Goku is outclassed as a leader, but he's still quite strong offensively. His weakness is his kinda poor defense, but he does have a counter chance to help make up for that. He's balanced for a different age, and his defense keeps him in tier 2. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta has a similar issue. His bad defense keeps him lower, but he does have a really good counter chance and some nice debuffing. Movie Heroes Nuker Blue Vegeta is awesome. He's a great stacker, but he has the nuker issue where his stats are entirely dependent on how many of those orbs you're giving him. If we just give him the orbs he creates, he stops being an orb changer for the team. If we don't, he's too weak and gets hit hard. He is still fantastic and makes it to tier 2, but that is why he isn't tier 1. Super Saiyan Kid Trunks is absolutely incredible, especially for a general pool unit, but he does require having his partner Goten to unlock his full potential, and I'd say that's a pretty big drawback. If you have those two together though, easily tier 1. Vegeta Blue supers a lot and then you see a KO screen. The problem is if he happens to get hit first. His defense is a pretty big weakness in the current state of Dokkan. Supreme Kai of Time has the opposite issue. While she's an amazing support, she is very weak offensively. Tier 3 is for characters that are good but have weaknesses that do really hamper their use. Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks is strong offensively but does its best with an 11 key, which means you're building around not hitting 12 key, which is just not what most teams are designed to do. On top of that, he's defensively weak. Super Saiyan 2 Goku is better than he has any right to be, but he needs Super Saiyan 2 allies. Super Saiyan 2 is a weird category because it only has one leader as of right now. It's a little underused because of that, while simultaneously having several better options than this Goku that are rather difficult to get, like LRs and Dokkan Fest that haven't come back yet. I think when more people have Tech Majin Vegeta, we'll see this Goku pop up more as a budget option, but right now it's that limitation that holds him back. LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku is a unit I actually really like. However, he has two modes, 12 key defensive and 18 key glass cannon. If you go with the 18 key, you first need to build around this unit so he can actually reach his 18 key, and then you have to deal with barely having any defense. If you go defensive, you can take some hits, but you hit just about as hard as a Nerf bullet that someone threw at you, and the defense you get is just not quite enough to make up for that, which unfortunately lands him in this spot. World Tournament Kale is severely outclassed by STR Kale, just no question there. However, she does do one very special thing, provides the LR Kale and Khalifa 40% support. Now the reason why she lands here and not in the next tier is because she also stacks attack and defense and double supers whenever she's next to a Khalifa unit. That stacking keeps her usable, but being just a normal UR and not a TUR leaves her with something to be desired stat-wise and limits her a lot. LR Hercule got a really nice buff after his EZA, but it's just unfortunate that his defense only lasts 3 turns and his attack is RNG based. LR Oob is good, but because his passive boosts are entirely dependent on how much HP you have, it really does hurt him until you get under 40% and he transforms. Once he transforms, he's a solid tier 2. Tier 4 is the niche tier. These are units that are good in certain modes or for very specific teams. Free-to-play Great Saiyaman 2 and 1 are pretty decent for Super Battle Road. They get debuffing from their super attack and their passive, so that's double there. They've also got a small chance to dodge, and they offer support for special pose allies, which is a very niche category. When you exchange Great Saiyaman 2 for 1, which is a great deal by the way, you get a decent free-to-play unit that gets stronger depending on your special pose allies, which again is a niche category for the moment. Free-to-play Sora is a decent stacker and supports Team Bardock, which is a great beginner team, but is really just made for that. He can be used in the Legendary Goku event or Infinite Dragon Ball history if you don't have anyone better. And the Kid Gohan's placement might just be because I'm a little bit salty that he never dodges for me in Extreme Super Battle Road, but rumor has it he has a 50% chance to dodge in the first slot and then a 15% chance if that first one fails. He's also got a small chance to stun, so he should be pretty good for Super Battle Road. However, he's just not really used that much outside of that. I could see him jumping up a tier though. And then you have Beerus, who is still good, but he's heavily outclassed by physical Beerus. He's defensively weak, but he has one really good thing that makes him good for Super Battle Road. A guaranteed stun in his Rage mode. He's niche because you're either using him for Super Battle Road or as a linking partner for LR Beerus and Whis if you don't have physical Beerus, or STR Whis. Tier 5 are the units that are usable but a little bit bad. Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku isn't even the best Super Tech lead anymore. He's got awful defenses and only a 20% stun chance. I went back and checked what he was like 2 years ago since that was the most recent Rainbow Showcase I could find, and he was hitting 2 million. That might have been good back then, but it's just not anymore, especially when you consider his drawbacks. And Mr. Boo is a decent Rainbow Orb changer, but the problem is he's also a Rainbow Nuker. You can only get 5 Rainbow Orbs, which puts him at 180% attack and defense at his best, assuming this isn't calculated separately because I didn't see anything about it in the wiki. He's also got the Majin Buu links for good Happy Fun Time Buu units, but doesn't make it on the Majin Power team since it's primarily evil Buu links. He does lower attack, and his art is absolutely adorable though, so he's tier 1 in my heart just for the art alone. Tier 6 are for units that are garbage. We didn't get any of those this year. And tier 7 is the meme tier. I love this trophy Vegeta, but that's all he is. He's decent for a trophy unit, but he's a trophy unit nonetheless. Use him if you want to meme on people, that's it. So I'm making this at the beginning of October, and if we get any more Super Tech units before the end of the year, I'll leave a pinned comment with where I would rank them here. I plan to also update that as we go through 2021, and of course these were my opinions and you're absolutely welcome to disagree with me, and I'd be happy to discuss it with all you comrades. Just be a little bit civil in the comments. And you can catch me next week with a top 10 and a tier list for Extreme Tech. Subscribe to get that sent to your sub box, and I'll catch y'all later. Have a good day, good week, good life, and happy summons. Goodbye.